premiere today, and our buddy Brad Paisley's in studio. What's up, man?
Well, how you doing?
I mean, I'm good, but it's not about me.
No, it is.
I talk about me too much. Brad, I'm so over me. I could never talk about me again and
Well,
be
none
good.
of us are over you, Bobby.
No, that's not true.
No one's over Bobby Bones but you.
Let's talk about this new song first, because we got a lot to get to, my friend.
Okay, you got it.
You got a new song. Everybody's hearing it for the first time today. We're world premiering it every hour. Talk about this song called Bucked Off for a second.
Well, you know, we've been in the studio a little bit. This is the first time I worked with Dan Huff, which has been an amazing experience. Wonderful. I mean, I've known Dan a long time, but I've never worked with him. So to be able to go in the studio with him and use somebody new who has a fresh perspective on me, who's kind of watched me from afar for a while, is fun. It's also fun to work with a guitar player like him who, you know, it's like my other producers over the years, they would say something like, you know, you got better in the guitar. I'm like, you play it. You can't do that with Dan because he could.
He could. Dan's a friend of mine, too, and I was talking to Dan once about, because he played on Michael Jackson records. He was telling me a story, just so our listeners can kind of get an idea about Dan Huff, who Brad's talking about. Dan said he was in an airport once, and he hears this lick on a Paula Abdul song. He's like, man, that's a fantastic lick. He said, whoever, and his brother was like, dude, that's you playing on that song.
I guarantee it.
And so that's the kind of guy that Brad's talking about. So you're working with him, and another guitar player is like a guy that you think's a good guitar player, so they have to be amazing.
Yeah, and we're also completely different players. Like, he doesn't play the way I do, and I don't play the way he does. And in that sense, he's like, on my project so far, he and I are the only two guitars. So it's really a cool blend. And then this song, we've cut several different songs, but this is the one that, for me, I was like, I think, you know, the labels who said this first, but I agreed with them. It's like, I think that's what we come with first, because it's not, I'm not trying to save the world here. This isn't like anything deep. This is a retro throwback to what I consider the golden age, which was that late 80s, early 90s. There were so many of these. The George Strait, Garth Brooks rodeo metaphor for a breakup, and I felt like I've never done that. I mean, as much as that's what I wanted to be, I wanted to be those guys. I've never even done this kind of song, so it was fun to do.
Brad Paisley's here, got the new song Bucked Off. The track, I mean, at this point I've heard the song a bunch of times, and you talk about bullets. I mean, it's a metaphor, right? Guy getting bucked off a bull. It's kind of like any of us having to get back up and do it again after something kind of sucks a little bit.
Exactly, as well as the idea with it production-wise, what we went in and did, you know, it's like, it's a fun take. It's crazy that it'd be a fun song about getting dumped, but you've been there.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember. It's been a long time for me.
I can remember. Yeah, it hasn't been that long for me.
I think you can remember. It was like maybe last week, but still, it's like to be able to look back fondly on, you know, early December or early November for you.
Yes.
Hear the song, it brings back so many memories of, you know, your Halloween breakup and
the one after that.
But we went in and cut this with, there's so many production things that were fun, little nuggets. Just that what I liked when we finished the thing is, I like the song anyway, but the idea that the bridge, you're in Marina Del Rey at that point. I mean, it feels like we go from one of my favorite George Strait records to this rockin' chorus, which is more rockin' than something I've done in a long time.
How many more years are you gonna host the CMAs? Because I'm in the bullpen. I'm warming up, Brad.
25 more, and then it's yours.
Great. Come on. You're still funny though. Like, how are you still funny after all?
Well,
it's your 11th time hosting.
We'll find out if that's true tonight.
Well, every year I watch it and I go, man, Brad and Carrie are getting better. It's really cool to see you guys like really settle in. That opening monologue is where I feel like it's where all the pressure and all the eyeballs are on for you guys. Do you feel that way?
Oh, always, yeah. And not only that, but we have sort of a benchmark to live up to of past years, and sometimes that's easier than others. You know how it is. There's sometimes when you have a year where it's very difficult. Like last year was difficult. Even though we somehow navigated that, we were coming off of the Vegas massacre. And how do you start a monologue when you just paid tribute to that and it's still on everybody's mind and it doesn't feel like you should be even telling any jokes? You have to somehow segue that. But this year, you know, then there's years like this year where it's like, you know, you got Justin Bieber's lookalike eating a burrito wrong.
You know, I was telling that story to my show, and none of them had any idea what I was talking about.
Well, that's the thing. These stories they come and go in 35 minutes.
Did you watch how Justin? Did you see how those guys faked that whole thing?
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see it.
So the video for our listeners that are just listening now, by the way, Brad Paisley is here. They had a guy that looked just like Justin Bieber. And they had
just like it. I would have
the
bought
hair. I did buy it. And he was eating a burrito through the side of it. And it went viral.
Like eating it like in a way that's unnatural and wrong.
Yes, that's a good word for it. Unnatural and also wrong. So you go how
eating
long?
it in a way that you're gonna make it. You're gonna turn it into 2 burritos when it's done, which is flawed logic because it's gonna spill.
Possibly burrito soup. You know,
maybe.
Brad Paisley's here tonight. You guys are doing the CMAs. How long is the opening monologue? Do you guys have that on a specific time? You have to do a certain amount of minutes?
They usually allot a certain amount for it, and then we build in laughter, God willing. And then I think it's ranged. The most we've ever done is 9 minutes.
You ever cut a joke right before?
Yeah.
Why?
Totally. Not working. Never. It's never necessarily about like. It was never really about like. By the time we get to the day of the show, it's always like. We've already weeded out the stuff we're kind of worried about, but it's more about. I don't think it's funny. Like if we're not sure it's funny and we don't need it, take it out.
You ever are so sure about one and it just doesn't hit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, typically speaking, it typically works. We've run it by the time the show rolls around. Like today, we will run it for the staff, like the people who work in the offices at the CMA. They all come into a room and we run it sort of just in a room.
Don't you feel a little bit though like they want to laugh, like they're coming in because it's Brad and Carrie and they feel like they should laugh?
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, no, they don't. I don't think there's people aren't like that. Like people, you can just tell if it's genuine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
I do. You're funny.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. See, that was genuine.
That was authentic laughter right there.
Without a doubt.
Tonight, hosting with Carrie. You got a new song out. What's up with the record? Like you talking about recording new stuff. Like you putting out a whole package of stuff or what?
Well, right now we're just still recording. I'll present my package eventually.
Yeah, I can't.
But right now we're just it's a song at a time. It's like we are working on an album, but we have one ready, so let's do it.
You know, I was wondering about you because I was watching one of those commercials, nationwide commercials. You and Peyton. Mm-hmm. You guys ever spend time together when the camera's not around?
Yeah, a little bit.
You like him? I
think he's great. Absolutely, he's a tremendous guy.
What's kind of his vibe when you hang out with Peyton Manning?
You know, he's smarter than you or I. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, wow, this guy's sharp. You know, he knows everything, first of all, about football. Everything. Like, he can watch a game. He would be a great commentator because he can watch a game and tell you what play they should be running. And he knows who's open before the receiver knows he's open, watching a game. And in that sense, it's pretty fascinating to talk to him in depth at all about that sort of thing.
I was talking to DeMarcus Ware, who played with Peyton at the end of his break. And I was like, hey, who are the quarterbacks? He goes, well, I used to play against Peyton. I had no chance because he was the one quarterback that DeMarcus couldn't read. And DeMarcus Ware was probably the best defensive end, arguably the past 15 years. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'll see Peyton Manning. He couldn't read him. He said, so I went over to his team, learned everything I could from him as fast as I possibly could.
Right. And he probably was like, oh, I wish I'd known that. But he's one of those guys that thinks levels above everybody else. And what's crazy about him, though, is that he can be the best quarterback of his generation and then go and be a comedian, just flip that switch. Because you and I both know that is not the same thing. That's not the same muscle at all as being able to throw a ball or know sort of routes and stuff like that.
I don't have either one of those muscles. Balls, well, yeah. Or that muscle. Any muscles. I got no muscles.
Definitely don't have... You don't have footballs at all.
What's the hardest thing to remember for you? If you're playing your guitar parts, your solos in a song, or lyrics to a song?
I think probably the lyric. The solo is, I either know that or I'm not going to get it. Solo's muscle memory or forget it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know it yet, but I'm playing it tonight. We're doing Bucked Off tonight, so good luck. That's not an easy solo. I'm hoping I hit it because the guitar universe is going to know if I don't. But
yeah, that guitar universe though, that's That's your universe. But if you're playing in the right key, I'd be like, oh, he nailed it.
Right.
Nailed
No,
it.
I'm glad. Well, that's in that sense, that's great. But I wish you were the ones on the message boards saying he blew that. Oh man.
Yeah. I wonder. I was talking to a couple friends. Like Dirks gave out Sea-Doos on his last tour to his guys. And
I'm cheap. I don't do that.
I was wondering about you. Do you give your people anything cool?
We got a taco truck.
Boom. Now you give them all taco trucks. I love that.
No, I just got a taco truck to provide some tacos to people. Yeah,
you give them 10% off the taco truck.
Right. Well, I did. I'd expect them to tip the servers, but
listen, my friend, look at you. Got a new song. It's a good one. Get back on the CMAs again tonight. I bet you're gonna do pretty good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see. You'll be there, so we'll see.
I will be there. I have a good feeling about it. Yeah, congratulations, man. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit.
You too. Come see me when you
have
get
we
a break.
Seen each other?
I don't know.
I always feel like it's in passing, and it's always work stuff, and it's like
it's always like, hey, what's going on? How are you? Good. No, I'm headed down here. Where are you going?
Good.
Yeah, man.
Catch you in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
all right, catch me. All right, man. See you, babe. Yeah, that's basically us every time. And
so, are you going to be out? You're going to be out in LA for Idol? You think?
Back and forth. I'll be out in LA. Have me over at the house, man.
I will. Are you a baseball fan?
Yeah, diehard sports fan.
Well, let's go to a Dodger game next year once they start back up. That'll be during Idol.
Well, yeah. Listen, or we can just like go to the taco truck.
Dodger game's better.
Okay. All right. Brad Paisley, check out Bucked Off. Hey, good to see you. And tell your wife to say hello, please.
I totally will. She says hi.
All right, I'll see you tonight. All right, Brad Paisley, everybody. CMA's tonight on ABC. I'll also be there, and we'll come right back.